Hello everyone, and welcome back to the D20 Firebird campaign. We just had a crash landing, and things are scattered over a wide area. We have a group of people crashed onto an alien planet, and they've managed to get most of their equipment together. So, alien planet, sort of breathable atmosphere. You guys have, thanks to Kurt's searching of the vessel, you guys have basically a radar communications device, a radar connection device. A little sort of about the size of a telescope, a little pod. Other than that, you are on this planet. You are on top of a mesa, and down below the mesa is a river leading to an ocean with open plains. To the north, to the east, you've got the open plains extending out to the horizon, and to the south and the west, you have the start of a forest, or they're not quite trees. They are tree-like creatures. You could call them a forest. Tree-like plants. You could call them a forest, I suppose. Thick bodies, a kind of fluff instead of leaves, but it's still green, so you assume it's using chlorophyll to transform sunlight into usable substances.
They're green fluffy ants, is what you're saying.
Green fluffy trees. Green fluffy trees. Pretty fluffy trees.
Okay.
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 So, what would you guys like to do now you are crashed on this planet? What are you guys thinking about?
Well, this sucks.
Yeah.
I want to get a quick just shelter base set up because I don't know what the elements are going to be like here. So what do you guys think? Let's start.
I think we should
scavenging,
explore.
maneuvering. But we don't know what the elements are like here. We don't know how long everything is. I think it would be good to have a base of operations so we can actually get things going before we start going anywhere.
I look at that as a delay to me getting off this planet.
Or you dying.
True.
It could be a delay. It could be a delay to your death. So I mean, depends on how you want to look at it here.
That's fair. Like, both of you have good points. Both of you are arguing interesting points. Kurt wants to get off the planet, so he wants to find a way to get off the planet, which means going and finding the rest of the ship. And Eric is all for sort of your colonizers. Like, he's falling back on what he was trying to do, which is to start setting up a colony.
Yeah, I'm going to help start up a colony.
So you've got 17 other people with you, and they've been sort of pulling what they can from the ship. It's nowhere near enough to have a sort of functional colony, but there's already sort of people discussing the same things you're discussing, and there's groups of people setting about sort of salvaging or attempting to salvage residential pods, basically sort of self-make residential pods.
All right, I'd like to roll diplomacy and try to get everyone's attention.
Okay.
Plus, do I have diplomacy? No, so that's just wisdom?
Charisma for
Charisma.
diplomacy.
0.
Okay, so 13
Yeah.
diplomacy. Like, how are you trying to get their attention?
If just hey guys, everyone, I have ideas. Gather around. Let's all take stock of everyone. Make sure everyone's wounds are treated. Who's alive? Just sort of get a lay of everything. See how everyone's physical condition is first before we start doing work.
Okay, so you managed to get some attention from at least a few of the people. Most of the people from the ship have just outright died. Several people have injuries, but they've kind of used the medical supplies available and provided by the corporation, things like wound stop gel and things, to mostly patch themselves up. There's discussions going on about basically like the pod you've landed in, the food supply section, the section that deals with hydroponics and food production, has disappeared. It's not there anymore. It's possibly like about sort of like 3 inches thick now. So your group is going to have an issue with food, and several people are talking about like, well, you're on a planet that has plants. Like, there's
Growing crops.
Surely there's some kind of food somewhere nearby. So the idea of maybe sort of people going out and exploring. So you've got different people doing different things.
Okay.
Okay, so while they've been doing that, I've been searching the pod I landed in as well, with a search of 16. And an extra 6, so 22.
So you search through the pod. It's got the most of the standard things. You find a Mark III defense pistol, which is the standard pistol issued out to most people. You find a basic suit. You find a little bit of a food cache, a little bit of a water cache, some water purification systems, a solar panel, a communications array, the standard things you'd expect in a escape pod, basically.
Okay, I want to gather myself one of the parachutes, start loading said stuff into it, and dragging my parachute and ass over to the other crash site.
Okay, so it'll take you a little while to get there, probably about sort of like half an hour to drag your ass over there. But as you guys are sort of settling in and arguing about who's going to do what, and Kurt is staring longingly at the forest, kind of like, I
need to leave. I don't like it.
Over one of the kind of like slight hills in the mesa, Percival comes marching. He's wearing a basic survival suit. He's got a crash pod's parachute behind himself, and he's got most of his items from his parachute, from his crash landing pod, in his parachute, including a small supply of food and water, some purification tablets, communication array, a sort of like small communications box. So he's got the basic items that a crash pod would have, and he's sort of marching his way over towards you guys.
Question about the parachute.
Yep.
Is it a standard breathing cloth parachute, or is it a foil parachute?
It is a foil parachute.
Nice. Okay.
Okay. I'd like to get a proper base camp set up.
Yeah, I'd like to round up people and search.
Okay, so Eric sort of starts work with the colonizers, putting together a basic sort of base camp around, within reasonable distance of the ship, not close enough that you're going to get cooked by the fire, but within reasonable distance of the ship. Meanwhile, Kurt has gathered a small group of people to himself to go searching. So where would you like to go searching?
What were the areas again that you said were nearby?
So to the north, you've got a river and the sea with an open plain. To the east, you've got an expanse of open plain that carries on to the horizon. A little bit of green, a couple of rivers. To the south, you've got a forest made up of the fluffy trees. And to the west, you've got another curve of that forest that heads up towards the edge of the ocean.
I'd like to go east, towards the plains and a couple of the rivers and open area.
Okay, so before he takes off, I ask him to hold a moment, and with my fanatic knowledge of magnetism, I'd assume that I can roughly identify ferrous materials from the crash site.
Oh yeah,
okay.
Easily.
I want to make myself a small compass.
Roll navigation. Six plus your navigation, which is 17.
16, I believe, but let me double check for you.
Still,
So,
I'm
19.
pretty sure you made it.
19. Okay, so yeah, you are more than capable of making yourself a basic magnetic compass.
Okay, so I spin around a little bit in spot, just looking down at my hands and trying to get my bearings of which way is which and how far it's moving and how accurate it's staying on point. And then I continue on with Kurt.
Okay, so Percival is headed off with Kurt as a magnetics expert, and he's produced himself a little compass for reference points, I suppose, as you don't really know how the magnetic field is on this planet.
But if there's that real strong one, then it starts pulling that way. And it's like, hey, look, there's the thing that killed our ship.
I think the thing walking is the thing that killed our ship. Let's be honest now.
So,
Right in the kidney that I
Kurt-
still have in this campaign.
Kurt and Percival, would you please do survival checks? And Eric, you can do a craft structural check for me. And Vagabond, what are you up to?
I'm joining Eric in his
So you want me to roll a dice?
Wow. See, I got a 2, but I have a 14 skill
Correct? I
modifier.
got a 12,
12. Good.
and I got 7 survival. Do I need to count that?
Yes, you add
Okay.
that to your dice. So 17 in
19.
total.
Oh, 17.
19.
No, 19.
Oh,
Yeah.
my drawing's not showing up again. 19.
Okay. So as you guys go along, you're there sort of exploring and looking for food is what most of your group is looking for. You find some plants. It's difficult to tell what would be useful food without examining it under like a microscope, but you find some short scrub bushes that appear to be producing a kind of pinky purple fruit, roughly the same shape as an eggplant fruit.
Okay.
Um,
Test it.
how are you going to test it?
Feed it to someone else that's with us. That is not us.
Well, then.
They are dead weight, in my opinion,
quick
and I'm just
question.
bringing them to help.
Ask
out
away,
of
Eric.
out of character.
Out
Would
of character.
out of character. Would his character have knowledge of basic testing of, I guess it would be foreign foods? Yeah, cut it, rub some of it on your skin. If that doesn't show signs or anything, rub it on your lip. If nothing, take a small bite. If nothing, it's
Yep,
fine.
he would. As a
Then-
frontiersman, he would know the basics of kind of like exploring things like that, as that's
Alright.
basic survival craft.
Test it then.
Okay, so
Oh, I want you to feed it to somebody and make them die.
I mean, we could still feed it to somebody.
I mean, I want to feed it to somebody, but yeah, but I don't. But in character, I don't want you to do that.
Yeah. In character,
In character, I'd object. Out of character, go ahead and kill all of your shit.
How many people
So-
are with us, by the way?
with your exploration group, you've got about another 4 people.
Okay. Are they armed?
They mostly have the personal defense pistols that most of the colonists were issued.
Okay. Just curious.
So they have small handheld pistols. Nothing
Okay.
sort of massively impressive, and also you don't know how good a shot they are. So Kurt finds these fruits, and so does Percival, and you decide to test it. Kurt decides to test it on someone else because apparently Kurt's a douchebag. So he goes through the process of testing, which is basically to apply the juice of the fruit to the inside of the arm, to cut the inside of the arm and apply the juice of the fruit again, to cut the edge of the lip and provide juice of the fruit to that. And basically it's just a test to see if your body reacts aggressively against this.
Okay.
So essentially you're taking a knife to somebody and then rubbing fruit in the wound. So you're
Nice.
just a douchebag right now. But as far as you can tell, like there's no massive reaction to it. Like it may contain something, it may contain a parasite or something, but as far as you can tell, it's not necessarily a toxic fruit.
Okay. Then we should gather up as much as we can.
Okay, so you guys set to gathering, and with your survival checks, you can actually gather a decent amount as you sort of move across the plane. You're now roughly...
Our survival
probably-
suits, do they have like a small pack built into them, or is it just like outer pockets?
Essentially, the survival suit and the explorer suit have a pouch at the back of the belt, which is roughly the size of a pack of cards. And if you open it and pull it out, you've got essentially a mesh backpack.
Okay.
So it's a bit like those, carrier bags folded up inside a little...
It's
thing.
Chewbacca's backpack.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah,
Okay.
fantastic.
So you guys are gathering. Could everyone who is at the crash site roll a listen check for me?
Plus
Let's get a +6, so
5.
19.
14. I have ass. Listen.
Do I need to roll 2 then?
No, we're away.
Nope, you're not at the crash
No,
site.
you
Okay,
guys are
sorry.
away.
I got confused.
That's okay. Okay, so most people at the crash site are busy getting on with their work, But Damien is a dreamer. He wants to write a novel. He often kind of drifts off into his own little world, thinking about how how to describe this particular vista in his novel. And doing so means that actually, strangely enough, he's a little bit more aware of his surroundings than the people who are focused on a particular task, because he's looking about. He's listening to the wind through the trees, so to speak, and he hears a kind of clattering noise from the other side of the ship. Most of you guys are gathered on one side of the ship where the main breach is, where the main opening of the ship is, because you can pull supplies out from there. He hears a kind of clattering sound, kind of like coming from the other side of the ship.
Oh my gosh.
Clittering. Sorry, it just made me laugh.
Yeah,
looks like I'm gonna get everyone's attention.
Sorry, man. It just.
Well, it looks
Yeah.
like I'm gonna ready my my weapon.
Okay.
And, get a couple people to let a couple people know that I heard that noise.
Okay.
Eric included.
Okay, so you heard her clittering.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Suck my hairy toes.
That got weird fast. No, not toes.
And Kurt and Percival, could you also roll a listen check for me?
Yay, listening. So that's going. What do I have for a listen? I've got an 11.
I got 10.
So 21.
Oh,
21
listen.
and 10.
Listen.
Your rolls, man.
I got a 13.
13 and 21.
My rolls
Okay.
have just been average, like 8s and 10s. It's my...
Yeah, all my rolls have been 1s and 2s. It's so bad.
Remember that this might seem a little bit overpowered for their regular players because they're used to playing level 1s. These are level 8 characters. So you're quite experienced and quite skilled at what you do.
That's true.
So Percival hears a kind of rumbling sound, kind of like a small stones being rolled about inside a basin.
Okay.
And because he has such a high roll, so he's obviously very, very good at listening, he can detect that it's coming from about 50 foot away and underneath the ground near a set of these fruit-covered bushes.
Okay. I look at my compass to see if it happens to be pointing towards it, and then I slowly start backing away from the plants.
Okay. Not going to tell anyone else, just going to leave them there.
I'm the scientist guy that's infatuated by magnets. He's just
Okay,
like,
so he's not
is
gonna tell
this
anyone. You're
magnetic?
not
I
gonna-
must study it.
Okay.
But I'm
He's
not
gonna
hiding
tell
that
me.
I'm walking away backwards from the plants
Oh,
that
you're
I'm
not
kind of
hiding.
staring at.
Okay, so
I just think you look weird then.
very possible.
I'm just like, what's this
Yeah.
guy doing?
Okay, so Eric and Damien and a couple of others at the ship are headed around the side of the ship to go investigate this clittering noise. Fuck you both. And Percival is backing away from the fruit bushes while most of the people are focused on picking fruit. And both groups experience this.
Okay.
Is
bursting
that
up
Yay, pop up. Oh,
bursting up out of the
Nothing.
ground. What?
There you go. It wasn't loading at all.
Bursting up out of the ground, probably within about 12 foot, 15 foot of Kurt, bursting through one of these bushes. This thing is approximately 4 foot high. It's got a thick, shiny brown shell. It's got multiple limbs. It's got a little beady face with kind of vacant black eyes, little black dot eyes. And there's several of them coming out of the bushes
Okay,
around
so would
the group
that,
of foragers.
large
Can I
back
get the
shell
number?
piece be like 2 foot by 2 foot?
Roughly.
Okay.
It's
2 or 3
roughly
foot
like
across.
a hydralisk.
Meanwhile,
not.
over at the ship, as the group move around the edge of the ship, there are probably about 12 of these things attempting to rip chunks off the ship from the other side. They're small, they're a little bit shorter than a human being, but they're basically grabbing hold of broken bits of ship and just kind of like grabbing them and dragging them, a bit like an ant colony attacking pile of sugar or a brownie that's landed on the floor.
Have they made any threatening motions?
That's what I was gonna ask.
Roll sense motive because like roll a sense motive check because like figuring out what a threatening motion is from these things is probably quite hard.
I got a nice. Here, I'll do the same
18.
thing.
I got 18 plus 2, but I have behavioral sciences, right? Shit.
16 plus 8.
Nice.
So 20 and 24. You champ. I love it.
Okay.
Okay. Am I supposed to roll 2?
Yeah, you can
Okay,
roll
well,
sense motive to check.
I got 14, but my sense is 1, so 15.
Okay, so over on the ship, Damien and Eric both come to roughly the same conclusion, which is these things don't seem to be paying attention to the colonists at all. These things seem to be quite intent upon gathering bits of ship. They seem to want the bits of ship. It's very much like an ant farming. The ants don't really pay attention to things. They are focused on what they're doing, which is gathering bits of ship at the moment. Down on the plains, Kurt gets a feeling that this is probably not going to go well. These things have come up out of the ground near the bushes, and you are gathering what is essentially a food source. From your experience, this probably means these things are here to protect their food source, and there's roughly sort of 6 of them around your group of 6 people, 6 humans, and they're kind of scuttling left to right. They're kind of up on their legs, and they are skittering a couple of steps to the left and skittering a couple of steps to the right, and kind of looking at you as a group.
All right.
Do they register on my compass at all, or no?
No, they don't.
I don't want to piss them off, just in case they really just want the food back. Maybe I should just give them the food and leave.
Are you going to try that?
Sure. Yeah, I'll put the food back and see if that's what they want. Maybe they won't attack me.
Okay.
I intensely look at Kurt.
Okay, so as Kurt kind of like swings the bag of food down off his shoulder and kind of dumps it back out on the floor, backs away from the food a little bit, one of these things sort of skitters forward and stands over the top of the food, right up on the tip of its legs, kind of like he's probably 5 foot from Kurt. Kurt could probably reach out and shake his hand if he wanted to, but it's kind of like standing over the top of the pile of food, right up on its legs, just kind of peering down at Kurt.
So trying to intimidate me.
Do you find that particular action intimidating from a 4-foot-tall insect?
I feel like that's what he's trying to do. I want him to have the food. I still don't want to show aggression in case more come or I piss them off. And then we have to fight for our
So
lives.
there's 2 of these here?
There's 6 of these
There's
things.
6. There's a lot.
At our spot? I thought there was more at the other spot.
There's
There
more
is.
at the other spot. There's like 14, 15 of them ripping apart the ship. Oh god, he's going to start a fight. Don't start a fight.
No, don't start a fight. They obviously want the food. We should just leave, back up, not shoot at them.
I continue backing away, keeping my back with my food pouch behind me so they don't see it. I'm going to take me some food.
Oh,
So
God.
The creatures down at the scavenging site are making like clicking sounds and chattering slightly, kind of like sort of hissing cockroaches make by rattling their bodies.
Do any of them have crystals on them?
Your character wouldn't know to look for crystals.
Yeah, I know. Damn it.
But he didn't answer the question.
And the colonists sort of start backing off. A couple of the colonists follow Kurt's example and dump food, and several of the creatures skitter forwards to stand over the food and chitter at you and shake their shells. One of the colonists kind of freaks out slightly and falls over. But for the most part, you're making a slow, sort of steady retreat from these things. And they seem to be more interested in kind of surrounding the patch of bushes than anything else. Over on the ship, you guys have determined that these things are interested in the ship. What are you guys up to?
Taking what I can that we've already scavenged and just moving away, watching them, seeing where they're gonna go. If they're burrowing back under, if they're taking the ship to the across ground.
So they're taking chunks of ship with them, Considering the ship was designed for 100 people, these things aren't going to take the ship, but they're taking chunks of ship with them and they're dragging them off towards what appears to be a cave slightly down the edge of the mesa from you, and they're kind of like picking up chunks. These things are obviously particularly strong because you see one of them half dragging, half carrying a piece of ship that you would guess probably weighs like 160, 170 kilos, and it's not putting much effort into it. It's just like holding onto it with one claw and just scuttling away with it. Like, this bit's mine now. Kind of possessive kind of scuttle as it heads off with a piece of shit dragging behind it. But for the most part, they just seem to be ignoring you guys, and you guys can continue to gather and work. Several other colonists are a little bit freaked out and start heading kind of away from the ship and away from the little colony you've built, carrying things with them, kind of like, yeah, we're not staying here.
All right, I back away from the creature thingies, the shell monster guys.
Shell monsters.
Yeah, the shell mon. I back away from the shell monsters back to the colony. And, I sort of head over to the guys who are leaving and say, yo, I'm gonna keep a close eye on these guys. Don't worry about anything. You guys are free to come back and stuff. Don't worry.
Like, I'm gonna hang out with the shell monsters. Have a good
I'm not
time.
gonna hang out with them, but I'm gonna glance at them from time to time to see if they're in it.
I'm gonna glance.
Having heard that you're going to glance at the shell monsters from time to time, the colonists who are leaving start to leave a little bit faster. It's like, yeah, no. There are shell creatures, we're not staying.
You know what? Screw you guys.
Yes, on the orientation where me and Kurt are, would we pass my drop pod on the way back over?
No, your drop pod landed southwest.
Okay.
So you guys, Kurt and Percival, you're headed back towards the colony ship with a small amount of food, having been kind of chased away from the bushes by the insect beasties. It's kind of obvious that they don't want you picking their food, but at the same time, like, it's a source of food that you found, so it might be worth noting that, like, if things become desperate, you might end up having to fight the little insect creatures.
Yeah, the little 4-foot tall insect creatures.
Yeah, they're only
rip
4 foot
metal
tall.
off hinges and carry it with note.
You've got guns. They're just little creatures. It's not like you could crush
It's
them.
like you want me to shoot them. I'm playing peaceful right now.
Fair enough. I must admit, I will be perfectly honest, Kurt. I did not expect you to play peaceful in your first campaign. I expected you to be a little bit more gung-ho.
I may be.
Considering the fact that you decide to hold your gun pretty tightly. Yeah.
Well, don't men
Like,
always
I would
hold their
give
guns
my wife,
tightly?
You don't understand.
Yeah, don't all men hold their guns tightly? Like, I mean, it bruises if you hold it too tight, but
So we are going back now.
I'm
Yes,
heading back
we're going
anyway.
to colony.
Yep.
Okay.
so like, it's not long on your way back until you notice that there's a pretty much a steady stream of these things headed to the ship and away from the ship. Just like an ant colony, there's like a little line coming to the ship and away from the ship, and like, you can see this from a reasonable distance away from the ship.
Okay.
The thrusters, are they like an ion, a EM thruster? Are they fueled? Are they solid fueled, liquid fueled? What kind of fuel are they?
The thrusters on the colony pod were solid fuel descent thrusters.
Okay. And is the oxygen shared between atmosphere and thrust, or are they two separate systems?
Separate systems. Oxygen generated via compressed water.
Nice.
Hark back to an old joke.
Oh, god damn it. Let me not do that again. That hurt my brain last time.
Okay, so on our way back, seeing all these things that I don't like because they aren't magnets, I'm gonna turn over to Kurt and pass an idea past him. Like, I've still got some food. These things seem to protect it. We could do, like, a line of food to get as many of them stocked over it as possible. And then we could ignite the oxygen supply of the solid fuel rockets that are still on the ship. And have some nice little toasty bugs.
So you want
Toasty
to roast the
buggery.
bugs that are not attacking us.
Yes. I don't like them. They're trying to take all the food.
I think,
And I like barbecue.
considering how ant colonies work, and I'm considering that most of them seem like they're working that same uniform, there's probably a lot of them. And to piss off one group and maybe kill off a percentage seems like a bad idea.
But
Seems
we
like we're
can
gonna
use
start
their
a war with
skin.
them. I don't
Are
like
you
it.
thinking about having shellfish for dinner?
Shellfish for dinner and then shields and a boat.
Why don't we ask the group?
Forget dinner and a hat. It's dinner and a shield and a boat.
Oh shit.
Oh my god. I look at you like you're kind of crazy, and good idea.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think Percival might have lost the plot somewhere along the way.
He might have had brain damage in the crash landing. That's a possibility too.
I look at you and I say yes, and then I slowly walk away.
Yes.
And hope that you'll get lost.
Yes. He just told me he liked liked my plan. Or at
As
least
I
in
secretly
Percival's
tell the
on.
rest of the group, just follow me and let this guy go.
All right.
Okay. So you've gone back to the group. I take it Kurt has shared Percival's plan with the group and basically said, "Yeah, this is stupid."
Yeah.
Okay, so he's beaten me to like the other group of people then?
Well, no, you were walking back together. Like,
Okay.
he's kind of gone off because the group of people is scattered about. There's some people walking away from the ship. Other people are still trying to set up a colony.
Okay. So as we pass like people walking away and like the people still setting up, I start asking around for a small like blowtorch or cutting tool of some sort.
One of the engineers that's walking away from the ship is he could lend you a blowtorch.
Oh,
Yes, lend it to me. He's
Can
not
I hear
getting it
this,
back.
or is he doing this in secret?
Oh, I told you my
well,
plan, and you told me yes. So like you
Well,
don't
he's not
need
doing it in
to
secret.
like it's kind of like I'm walking around, I'm asking people for a blowtorch.
I
Like-
can't decide if I want to let him go do it and hopefully make a big mistake, and the rest of
I
us
know
get
his
out.
plan, so I'm gonna.
Or we should just
no,
tie him up.
no,
and
no,
say, hey,
no. What? Okay, you who wants the blowtorch to blow up this shit? Who are you? What's your name? Why are you stupid?
I'm the cartographer.
You're gonna kill us all.
Very,
Do
very
you
well
not
educated,
realize-
sorry.
Do you not realize that there are most likely millions of these things? Or
Not right here.
billions? We don't. Not right here, no. But do you think
So
you're
we can
gonna
take
kill
care of
them
the
all
ones right here?
And then when they come back in a force of 5,000, 10,000, or all of them, and
We have new proof of that. We haven't seen a reaction yet of these creatures when they're hostile.
but they haven't been
engaged.
hostile. They haven't been hostile. So why don't
No,
we
but
just
I
wait
will
for
be
them,
when I
find
blow
out-
them up.
Let's find out what they're doing and then follow them back to their area.
I think Droid
And-
needs seed.
I'm
It's
here.
just-
It's fine.
Let's not do anything stupid. Let's not kill anything. Nothing
Here's
has
a
been
better
hostile
idea.
yet. Nothing's
Ignore
been
these
hostile.
creatures and let's just go find our way off the planet. And I don't care about what these.
Well,
creatures
why don't we just build a base, like a small little home base? Because for all we know, this could take like I don't know months to get off.
I
this
don't want to compete with food next to the food keepers. I'd rather, if
No,
we're
Kurt.
going to a base, I'd rather move and then make a
He's-
base.
He's got a
also being
point.
Question for
nomads.
y'all. How far away did you notice that cave that they seem to be scuttling into?
The cave is about a kilometer away, roughly.
Hmm.
Oh, that's pretty close.
So, we could
Um,
detach the fuel and oxygen tanks, and let them carry it back, and then have a bigger barbecue.
Okay, with this planning underway, how long have you been at the session, Toad?
We're now 35 minutes in. We should probably stop.
So what I will do is I will just do a quick recap for the audience because I know Toad loves it when I do the quick recaps for the audience, and then
really
we'll
do.
restart again. So let me point out that the beginning of this session or the end of the last session, I can't remember which. Percival made his way from his crash landed pod to the survivors' spaceship. In his list of supplies was a sort of communications array that the crash pod came with. None of them have touched this yet. They have a radar array, which none of them have touched yet. And they're talking about roasting the local wildlife that appear to appear in profusion.
I am not.
I don't
am
want to do this
talking
plan at
against
all.
That.
I
We
wanna
have
get
one
my
person
nap
in favor of it.
And get out of here.
So this is what I would call the player blindness, where you give the players an item that's really, really useful, and they all run in the opposite direction. So I think we'll call the session there and allow our players a little time to think about what they want to do at the start of the next session.
I'd like to ensure that dumbass McGee doesn't kill everything.